What if I told you that in a single stroke, Europe mortgaged its market access and pledged over $1 trillion in deals to keep U.S. tariffs off its goods? But the United States and the European Union just agreed to slash a threatened 30% tariff to 15% in exchange for $600 billion in EU investment commitments and $750 billion in American energy and defense purchases, an accord President Trump hailed as the biggest trade deal ever. This isn't a side note in finance class. It's the latest example of alliance economics under an America First Doctrine. Strategic leverage thinly disguised as mutual benefit, with Brussels stepping up when faced with the hammer of punitive duties. Before we dive in, take a breath and pour that coffee. Because today's story isn't about mortgage rates or housing starts. It's about how Washington weaponizes market size to extract political and financial concessions, and how Brussels blinked first under an August 1st deadline for steeper duties. Imagine a chessboard where access to a 25 trillion consumer market is the queen. In this game, every tariff threat is a gambit, every investment pledge a countermove. That's exactly the play we saw when President Trump and Commission President von der Leyen met, first at Camp David, then on his Scottish golf course, ultimately sealing an agreement neither side could publicly walk away from. Just weeks before the deal, a major German auto supplier had paused its plans to expand in Mexico, fearing a snap 30% U.S. duty. With the 15% framework now locked in, Volkswagen CEO Oliver Blume said on July 25, 2025, that VW would proceed with a very attractive investment package as part of a scalable program in the United States, including potential new assembly capacity for its Audi brand, citing the tariff certainty provided by the new US-EU agreement as the key driver. Imagine your closest friend demanding a price just to keep hanging out. Sounds crazy, right? Yet that's exactly what's happening on the world stage. Welcome to the era of bilateral brinkmanship. It all began in 2018 when Washington slapped 25% steel and 10% aluminum tariffs on everyone, including long-standing partners like Canada and the EU, shattering decades-old post-war trade norms. From 2019 through 2024, nations as diverse as Japan, the UK, Indonesia, and Vietnam found themselves caught in the same cycle of threats, concessions, then new threats. And now, Europe's favored multilateral framework is proving no shield. Even our closest allies aren't immune. Here's how the new US-EU deal is structured. Tariffs drop from a threatened 30% to a 15% levy on most EU goods. Investments amount to a $600 billion package. Loans, equity stakes, and infrastructure upgrades in ports, semiconductor fabs, and data centers. Purchases commit Europe to buy $750 billion of American energy, LNG, refined fuels, nuclear fuel, and defense equipment like aircraft, missiles, and shipyard contracts. Exclusions leave steel and aluminum tariffs at 50%, and strategic sectors such as pharmaceuticals untouched. This isn't a win-win handshake. It's monetizing alliance loyalty. Loan guarantees boost fees for U.S. banks. Procurement contracts pad the revenues of American defense contractors. And infrastructure pledges help close U.S. budget gaps without raising taxes at home. Take pharmaceuticals as a case in point. Europe's major drug makers now face a 15% U.S. surcharge, an extra $12 to $18 billion in annual costs. Sanofi is scrambling to accelerate U.S. clinical trials. Roche is hoarding active ingredients in North Carolina. Across autos, pharma, and semiconductors, companies must overhaul their transfer pricing strategies to bake in this permanent tariff. What can companies do? Onshore investments, build or expand U.S. facilities to hedge against future spikes, and secure local supplier status. Currency hedging, Lock in euro and yen hedge financing to protect profit margins. Follow on negotiations. Keep an eye on South Korea and Canada. Deals before August 1st may foreshadow the next sector shifts. Supply chain stress tests. Map choke points in specialty chemicals and rare earths so sudden duty changes don't cripple production. History offers cautionary tales. Thatcher's privatizations brought cash, but left Britain vulnerable to tech shocks. Russia's Rosneft IPO raised billions, yet compromised energy security. Europe may have traded long-term strategic autonomy for a headline tariff cut. Meanwhile, Africa and Australia ramp up rare earth exports. Latin American LNG deals surge. NATO cohesion feels strain as defense procurement turns transactional, and the WTO drifts further into irrelevance. If you found this breakdown illuminating, share it with someone who still thinks trade policy is technobabble. Drop a comment. Will this pact cement American leverage or quietly erode the dollar's post-war security? And if you want more no BS deep dives, subscribe and hit the bell. Because when trade rules change, opportunities flood in for those who saw it coming. Context is king. Deep dives beat sound bites every time. History rhymes. Power rebrands. Stay inquisitive.